You want to hear some small town gossip in a town you ain't never heard of? Of course you do. All right, so let's get into it. So there is this couple that is married in my little hometown here. They ain't been married very long. They've been dating a while, but they just recently got married within like a year or two, right? Well, anyway, the husband tells the wife, hey, let's, spice it up. I want to do chuckling or chucking or looking. I don't know. I had to Google it, and that is not coming out of my mouth. Y'all gonna have to look that up yourself. And I read that I about died, children. But anyway, the wife said, absolutely not. No, not happening. I ain't doing that. Well, the husband gets really mad, and they get into it and all the things, but she, stand firm on it. She wasn't doing that. Well, anyway, she gets home one day. You ain't never gonna believe it. She gets home one day, and he is in the bed with another man. Children, shut the front door. Well, in his case, the back door. But listen, ain't no judgment here in the club. We are all fam. But I was shocked. I mean, what the crap? But I guess it all makes sense now that he wanted her to do that and sit back and watch other men. What in the world? It's always those over masculine men. Swear.
So last night I got the hey girly message. Sit down, grab some snacks, grab a drink. Let's talk about it, shall we? I don't know when you guys are gonna see this, but today's June 2nd. Last night was June 1st. So last night I'm scrolling through my Instagram DMs and I go to my message requests and I see a girl message me, hey girly. Me and her had about like 24 mutuals on Instagram, so I knew instantly that this is a hey girly message. I saw the message an hour after she sent it, and within 15 minutes she responded. I'm gonna call this girl K because her name starts with a K. Backtrack, let's talk about the boy that's involved. I met this boy back in 2022. Me and my friends were at a parking lot just chilling, and one of my homies invited his friend, which happens to be the guy in this whole story. We're gonna call him Jay because his name starts with a J. He comes up to me, he's like, hi Carly, I know you off of social media, I know you do YouTube and stuff. I'm a video editor if you ever want a video edited. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys, he's attractive. So me being a female, instantly I was like, oh, okay, what's your Instagram? We ended up exchanging Instagrams, and then from there we started talking, exchanged Snapchats. From there it went to numbers and then FaceTimes, and now we're talking. If I'm gonna put a timestamp on it, this is like September of 2022. We didn't talk for long. I would say we were talking for only like 3 weeks. I truly don't remember how we stopped talking, but I know that we just stopped talking. Fast forward December 2022, we reconnect again. So we start talking again, and it leads into the new year. January 2023 rolls around, and I meet this guy who ends up being my boyfriend, who is now my ex. Since I'm head over heels over this boy and I'm ready to get into a relationship, which I ended up getting into a relationship, I ghosted Jay. Was in a whole relationship 2023, and then I end up ending that relationship end of 2023. Beginning of 2024, Mr. J slides right back into my life talking about Happy New Year. Here I am, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's meant to be. Well, no, he ends up ghosting me because he gets into a relationship now. He gets into a relationship with a girl that I know off of social media. Like, I don't know her, but obviously, like, I've seen her app before. Like, a bunch of my mutuals follow her. Her name starts with an M. Are you guys catching up and seeing where this is going? Yeah. So Jay ghosts me and ends up getting into a relationship with M. No, I've never met her. No, I've never spoken to her, but I know who she is, okay? Toronto is a very small city with a whole lot of people, okay? I don't hear from Jay for like a whole year and a half. He unfollows me on Instagram, unadds me on Snapchat. I don't even know if he has the same number. And the reason I found out he was in a whole relationship is because February of 2024, he posts her for Valentine's Day. I don't know if y'all care about how I felt, but how I felt in the situation was like, touche. I ghosted you to get in a relationship. You ghosted me in a relationship. I looked at the post. I was like, you got it. You ate me the fuck up. Got it. Fast forward May 2026. I get an ad on Snapchat and I'm like, I was like, oh. Right. I ended up adding Jay back and we started having conversations. I added him back and like my immediate instinct is like, Carly, just don't take it seriously, because like you guys were talking and then not talking and then you ghost him and then he ghosts you. Like, it's wishy-washy. I'm like, if you're gonna talk to him and talk to him seriously, he's gonna have to put a whole lot of elbow grease in, okay? It is June 2nd, okay? 3 weeks of us chit-chatting. Now we are here today. Kay messages me, hey girly. I respond, hey girly. She goes, are you talking to Jay by any chance? Not even my best friend's sister Charlene knows that I'm talking to Jay again, so how the fuck do you know? I respond, whoa, sorta, why? Oh, I forgot a detail. So when we were snapping, he asked me if I had the same number and I was like, yes, so then we ended up texting and FaceTiming. that part. So my contact on his phone was CS, just my initials, right? You guys know the contact photo? I don't want to leak myself, but you know like the contact photo where you can share to contacts, and I guess like when you change it, it changes on their phone too. So yeah, he saved my name as CS, but he didn't take out my contact photo. When she saw the CS and then saw the contact photo, she immediately knew who I was off of social media, and that's how she found out about me. But what's crazy about this story, okay? What makes this story absolutely diabolical and insane, she tells me that she's in a 7-year long-term relationship with this man, and they've been together since 2019. So if 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 + 2 is 4, then what the fuck is that? Because who the fuck is M? Didn't he just ghost me for? Right. When I sit here and tell you that I gave this girl my number so quick, I gave Kay my number so quick, and we were on a 2-hour FaceTime call. I shared my screen and showed her every single conversation me and Jay had. I gave her the rundown of what I saw on February 14th with Jay and M. I told her on the phone, I do not rock with that, and I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. Let me know if there's anything that you need from me on my end. You really want to catch a cheat or cheat live action? I can really go set up a date with Jay and have you pull up. I'm with whatever. So today I unadded Jay and I blocked his number. But yeah, that was my hey girly message yesterday. Thank you so much for listening to my story time. It's low-key a rant. Off topic, Kay, if you're watching this, you are stunning, babe. Okay, and Jay, if you are watching this, brother, man, sir, yeah, karma is coming right at you, yeah? Sorry, not fucking sorry, Jay. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
When I was 16, my dad took me to the doctor's office because I had mono, and while I was there, I was like, hey, I'm actually due for a flu shot, so if you guys want to do that now, then I just don't have to come back, like, let's get it all done. They're like, we can't give you a shot because you're actively dying, with mono. Like, I was so sick, I couldn't stay awake for longer than, like, 10 minutes. I was literally just falling asleep all the time. It was terrible. But they're like, you're so sick, we can't give you a flu shot, it's not good, like, your immune system's super weak right now. Cool. So another nurse comes in a little bit later with a vaccination, and I look at my dad very confused because I'm like, did they not just tell me I couldn't get this? Like, why are they gonna give me a vaccine? He's like, it's fine, like, get the shot, we won't have to come back, this is perfect. So I get the shot, and I'm like, something just doesn't seem right. We leave the office, or like we leave the room in the office, and on everyone else's doors there's like whiteboards that say like vaccinations they're getting, like what they're being treated for, everything. My whiteboard is blank. And I'm like, that's really odd that I would get a vaccination, but it wasn't on my door. So then we get the discharge paperwork, and it's also not on the paperwork. So I'm just feeling really off about this, but I'm also so sick and just like, whatever. But I get home and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I was given a vaccination today. She's like, what do you mean? You're really sick. What vaccination were you given? And I'm like, I think I was given a flu shot. And she's like, who would give you a flu shot while you have mono? Like, you're so sick. That's so odd. I'm like, I agree. So she calls the doctor's office, she gives all my information, and she's like, what vaccination did my daughter receive today? They're like, she didn't get a vaccine today. There's nothing on here. She didn't get a shot. And my mom's like, that's crazy because I'm looking at her arm right now and I can see where she got a shot. And I think that's a really weird thing that my daughter would lie about. So you're gonna have to try harder and tell me what she was given. And they're like, we actually have to call you back. They call back, it's the doctor, and my mom is yelling at this man at this point because they're like, she didn't get anything, there's nothing here, like, she did not get a shot. And my mom's like, no, but she did, because I'm looking at where you gave her a shot. And my mom basically says, listen, we're not gonna sue you, like, we're not looking for a case, we just need to know what you gave my daughter and whether we're going to the hospital right now. And they're like, okay, so real talk, we think that we gave her the second strain of the meningitis shot. It was meant for someone else. And my mom's like, oh, that's great, that's crazy, because she's never had the first strain of the meningitis vaccinations. And they're like, okay, word, we do see that she hasn't, so we think it's fine, we think everything's great. She's gonna come back in a month when she feels better, and she's gonna get some blood work done, and then from that blood work we'll be able to tell what it was, and we think it was that. And then if it was that, we're gonna give her the first strain and then the second strain again. My mom's like, okay. So that's what we do. I go back, I get the blood work done. They're like, yep, that's what it was. I don't even think they knew. Like, they're like, this is our best guess. So I get the first strain, I get the second strain. Fast forward, I'm now in college and they need, guess what, my vaccination records. So I send them all over and they're like, hey babe, you're actually missing your meningitis vaccinations. I'm like, that's crazy because not only have I had both of them, I also had just a special third one. So I've had more than I needed. They're like, we don't have that. So I go back to this doctor's office and I'm like, hey, where's my records? They're like, we don't have a record of you ever getting that. They're like, so we're gonna give it to you again. So I get the first strain and the second strain again. So now I've had 5 meningitis vaccines. Okay, thinking finally everything's great. I moved to Chicago. I am going to law school. They're like, we need your vaccination records. And I'm like, perfect. Everything should be there. And I send it over and they're like, you're missing your meningitis vaccinations. I go to my PCP and I'm just like, I'm telling her all of this. I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, listen, I know that I need another, like, whatever, give me a 6th and 7th meningitis shot. If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. Like, I don't know what else to do here. She's like, I believe you. Like, you obviously have every other vaccination. Like, that's so weird. I'm gonna put it on here that you have it. I'm gonna write a little note. So we send it over. I go to law school. Everything's fine. And it's finally on my record. But that being said, the people who are super concerned about vaccinations and think that it causes all these problems, I've had 5 meningitis shots. I've had literally more than anyone else I've ever met. And I'm fine. So do with that info what you will.
Story time about how my ex-boyfriend and my ex-best friend are engaged to be married right after we broke up. Disclaimer, I'm using fake names, and also please do not get into it with any of their family members on social media because I've already dealt with that. Okay, so boyfriend and I were together for about 1.5 years. We lived together, we had a dog together. We broke up beginning of January. His friend and I were friends for about 5 to 6 years. I would have considered her my sister. I was very close with her parents. She was there for me in a lot of dark times, and I feel like I was there for her. I told her pretty much everything about my life. So me and boyfriend started having consistent issues, and I think we both just kind of realized things weren't going to work out. Towards the end of last year, I had a trip planned to go see my mom in Pennsylvania for the holidays. He didn't want to go. We were going to also take a drive up to New York City to go experience that around Christmas time. He didn't want to go. So I brought my best friend with me, and she saw my family for the holidays, and we went up to New York together. So on this trip, I'm kind of talking to her about our relationship and how I'm kind of conflicted on what to do. And she's very adamant that I should break up with him. She's telling me I deserve better. We should have been engaged already. All of the things. Yeah. Anywho, so when I get back from New York, I'm pretty positive that that's kind of how things are gonna go. Anywho, beginning of January, we end up breaking up. About mid-January, I packed all my things and moved in with my friend. So through all this, I'm talking to my best friend. I'm saying, you know, like how I feel about the situation. She's coaching me through this whole thing, like so excited to have a hot girl summer. She's so glad I'm single for the first time. Like, he was terrible anyways. You know, like, mind you, through the relationship, she always said he wasn't attractive. He always said she was very outgoing. I'll word it that way. They never really had nice things to say about each other. They communicated some over text. She was trying to do a bodybuilding show, so she would send him pictures, kind of, to get his opinion because he was a personal trainer. And I allowed it because these are the two people I trusted most in my life. Like, this is my sister and I thought was going to be husband. Anyways, so me and him end up deciding it's hard for us to be away from each other, and so we're gonna work on things. So this is going on for the span of like January. There was actually a big snowstorm in Arkansas, and we ended up like staying together, eating dinner together, all the things, like basically being together, but we weren't. Beginning of February comes around, he's kind of being a little bit iffy, like the week leading up to Valentine's Day. I come to him about it Friday night, the day before Valentine's Day, I think it was. He's very adamant. I asked him several times, are you seeing another girl? He promised to my face, like on the phone, no. I was like, if you are, just tell me. Anyways, he then turns off his location, and I'm like, why'd you turn your location off? And he's like, there's no reason. I'm like, okay. So he's like, do you want me to just leave you alone for tonight? And like, I won't bother you. Like, I know you're really going through it. I try to call him and he doesn't answer. So then I'm like, okay, mind you, my apartment that I'm staying in now with my friend is like right across the street from our old apartment. I drive past. I'm just a girl. He's not home. Okay. I call my best friend. You know, hey, he's not home. I think he's with a girl. She's like on the phone with me like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's like basically lying to my face. Okay. So I go to bed the next morning. I wake up, I go up to his work and I confront him because he has yet to answer me. And I'm like, hey, I know you were with a girl last night. Like, just be honest with me. You know, I would have never done this to you. You know the deal. I don't even have to go there. Anyways, he's kind of just like laughing in my face and tells me he's been talking to another girl for like over a week. I call my best friend as soon as I leave and I'm like, I'm never talking to him again. Like, this is so hurtful. And she's like, oh my gosh, that sucks so bad. Like, forget him anyways, you know. Well, then she starts becoming distant. I planned to move to Pennsylvania to be with my family. That was kind of just like the final push that I needed. I'd already been thinking about it. So I'm getting ready to move. I'm trying to like call her about seeing each other and hanging out, and she's like kind of dodging me. Anyways, I finally moved to Pennsylvania. I get a call. Shout out Ella Kate. She calls me and lets me know that actually our old sorority sister spotted them together in the Home Goods. My ex-best friend and my ex-boyfriend. They were shopping together. I text them both a paragraph about how I felt about that situation, and she kind of just responded with, this was never supposed to happen. Like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. I know you're never gonna talk to me again. Yeah. I never really got answers as to how, why, when, where, any of the things. And yeah, and then I found out through the grapevine that they're now engaged. That was February. It is now June the 1st. I found out they were hanging out mid-March. So there's no telling, no, like beginning of March. There's no telling how long that was going on for. I'm assuming she was with him the night before Valentine's Day when I was calling, trying to figure out who he was with. I don't speak to either of them anymore, obviously. If you guys support that situation, please block me, because I don't want to associate with you, because that's sick and weird. In all seriousness, I laugh about the situation frequently. I think it's hilarious. Maybe I can't process it yet, but you know, if people can do that to someone, then they deserve each other. I wish them nothing but blessings and pray for them and hope that God works in their lives, because that is not very kind to do to someone. So yeah, happy wife, happy life.
Story time about the worst day I've ever had at my job. Let's go. And someone please tell me what you would have done in this situation, because I felt like I was a little too nice, but I didn't know how to go about it. This is my first job, my first real job, so I didn't know what to do. So I work at this place called Giggletown, and if you've never heard of it, it's essentially an indoor play area for kids ages 0 to 8. So if you're above 8, you can't play, and keep that in mind. This day already started off really bad because I woke up and I started my period. Great way to start the day. And I have endometriosis, so the pain level was up here. So I was just tired, I was hurting, I was in pain, everything was overstimulating, so keep that in mind as well. I get there at 9 a.m. Not even 15 minutes later, people start coming in, which is fine. We're a very known, popular area, and everyone loves to come in and play. So everyone keeps coming in, and keep in mind that my boss is there, which is the owner, and she's doing some things with the technology and data and everything because we have some problems there, so she's trying to take care of that. And so every, I would say 10 to 15 minutes, you have to do a round and pick up all the toys and put them back where they go. Of course, I didn't feel like doing that because I was in a lot of pain, but I was doing that anyway because that's my job. So we had people coming in. There's a line out the door. It's not even 10 a.m. yet. We open at 9. And there's a line out the door. I'm getting all these people in. I'm not paying attention to anyone else. And so I'm getting all these people in. Maybe an hour goes by and things calm down a little, but we're packed inside. And so after I do my round, I hear the bell at the door go off. So I go up front to get the family in. And it's this mom, her mom, which is the grandma of the kids, and she has 3 kids with her. She has an older girl, an older boy, and then a young, toddler. So anytime someone comes in, I always ask them, hey, have you ever been here before? If so, let me check on that safety waiver for you so that you can get in. And if they've never been before, then you have to fill out a safety waiver. It's just basically saying that, hey, your kid is not our responsibility, blah, blah, blah. So I asked if they've ever been here before, and the mom said yes. And I said, okay, well, what's that first and last name? I can go ahead and check that safety waiver for you, make sure you're all good to go. And so she gives me her first and last name, and I make her spell it out for me because I don't want to spell it wrong. So I spell it out, and I'm looking, I'm like, and spell that for me again, and she spells it, and it's right. And I'm looking, no safety waiver. And sometimes our system does this where the waivers don't go through, so they have to fill it out again, which only takes 30 seconds max. So I'm like, ma'am, I'm not seeing the waiver on here, which is no big deal. You're just gonna have to fill it out again. And the mom goes, I already filled it out. And I said, ma'am, I know that, but our system is having technical difficulties. My boss is working on it right now. But you really do have to fill this out in order for your kids to go in. And she's like, whatever, I'll fill it out again. And I'm like, okay. So then, as she's filling it out, I'm like, okay, I just wanted to ask, does everyone have socks? And she's like, yes, I have socks in my bag. With the snarkiest tone. And I'm like, okay, all right. And she says they all have socks. I'm like, that's fine. And the grandma, I'm looking over the counter, and the grandma was wearing flip-flops with no socks. And I said, hey, ma'am, I just wanted to let you know everyone has to be wearing socks if you're going to be in the play area. If you don't have them, that's fine. We sell them for $3. And after I say that we sell them for $3, she goes and looks at the mom, and I'm like, I'm just doing my job. I'm already getting fed up at this point. I'm on my period, overstimulated by everything. So I'm like, ma'am, $3, no big deal. I take the adult socks, put them down nicely on the desk, and she snatches it from me, and I'm like, okay. And so I ring up the kids. Oh, I forgot to mention, I asked how old the kids were because you have to be up until 8 years old to play. I asked how old the kids were. The toddler was 2.5. No, I lied. 1.5, just starting to walk. And the older boy was 7, and the older girl was 9. And I said, ma'am, you do know that, our age limit is only up to 8. And then she goes, oh, she's 8. She's 8. And I said, okay. Second lie of the day, by the way. So finally, they go in, and I'm not focused on them, okay? I got people flooding in here. People love Giggletown at this time. It's like rush hour for Giggletown. People are coming in, flooding in. I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. So after the flood of people come in, I'm still checking the waivers and making sure everything's good up front. My boss walks over to the desk. This is maybe 10 minutes after that family comes in. She comes over to the desk. Hey, Bailey, I just wanted to let you know that that family over there isn't wearing socks. And I peep my head around the corner. It's that same family that told me that they all had socks. So you're a liar. You're a liar and you're a liar. You lied twice. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe she didn't lie at all. Maybe she actually does have socks and she just forgot. So I went up to her and I said, I was very respectful and I kept my demeanor fine. And I said, hey, ma'am, I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if you forgot, but everyone does have to be wearing socks. I noticed your little girl was running around and she's barefoot, and she does have to be wearing socks, including you as well. And she looks up at me from her phone like this and goes, I've never heard of that rule. What do you mean you've never heard of that rule? So anyway, I'm like, yes, ma'am, you do have to be wearing socks in the play area. And guys, I feel like that's common sense. I feel like you should know if you're going to an indoor play area, you're gonna be wearing socks, okay? So anyway, I'm like, it's no big deal, ma'am. If you don't have socks, we do sell them up front for $3. It's no big deal. And she's like, you know what? I'll just hold my daughter the whole time. And I said, okay, fine. Just hold your daughter, I don't care. And so I'm like, okay, but you do have socks, right? And she's like, oh yes, they're in my bag. So I physically watch her pull them out and put them on, but she doesn't have socks for her daughter. So I'm like, okay. So she holds her daughter in the little like baby carrier, and I go back up front. More people are coming in. I'm getting them inside Giggletown so that I can walk around, do a few laps, do my job. So it's time for my 4th or 5th lap to clean up toys. I'm walking out to go clean up the toys, and I see that same little girl running around barefoot. And at this point, I'm getting pissed off. So I'm like, I have to address her again, and I really don't know what to say. So I go up to her again, and I say, ma'am, I know you don't want to hear from me again, but you do have to be wearing socks inside of Giggletown, okay? Okay. So she keeps telling me, she's like, I've never heard of that rule. I've never heard of that rule. And at this point, I'm just like, ma'am, if you've been to Giggletown plenty of times, you would know about our sock rule. So at this point, I just don't even care anymore. I'm really fed up. And so, you know what? I'm just going to be nice. I go up front, and I get the toddler socks, and I'm like, it's on me. I'll give them to you for free. Just take the socks. Take the socks. And she's like, I don't want the socks. I told you I would hold her the whole time. And I'm about to cry. I'm literally so mad, and she's just being so rude. So finally, her daughter runs over to her, and she picks her daughter up, and I said, ma'am, just take the socks. Just take the socks. It's no big deal. Just take the socks. And she said, no, I'll just hold her. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I quit. I'm done. So I go back up to the front because more people are coming in. And as I turn around to walk away to go towards the front, she turns to her mom and she goes, if she should be addressing anything, she should be addressing that big zit on her chin. Huh? And at this point, I'm livid. So I turn around and I go, excuse me? And she looks over at me and she's just like glaring at me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I said, ma'am, I heard you, and if you don't like our rules with Giggletown, you can simply just leave. And my boss is over there. If you don't like the rules, take it up with her. And eventually they left. They left like 10 minutes after that, but I was so mad and I didn't know what to do. What would you guys do in this situation? Because it literally made me so mad. Like, don't be rude and don't be disrespectful. Don't.
I accidentally showed up to work an hour early, so now while I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting to go in, let's talk about the worst Google review I have ever received, where the only white woman in a group told me that I was racist against her. Let's set the scene. Also, I really wish I had this screenshot, but I cannot find it anywhere, and it looks like my old restaurant took it down. Alright, so I was serving this party of 12 in our private room. The restaurant I was working at had this large private room with a giant table in the middle. People would use it for like baby showers. They would also use it for meetings. This particular one was a meeting. Now at this restaurant, we also had mandatory 1 check for parties over 6, as well as auto gratuity of 18%. So this table comes in, everyone's acting normal. The boss orders 2 bottles of wine for the table. Now each bottle of wine, standard size, holds about just barely 5 glasses of wine. So we're talking 10 glasses split between 12 people. These people were getting small pours as I went around the table and poured it. Obviously, when I get to the last person, it's a little bit less than everyone else's. Minuscule amount, a minuscule. So at this point, as I'm pouring, the boss starts talking. They're launching into the meeting, and so I see myself out, I close the doors. The thing about parties like that is you kind of just have to leave them alone and wait for them to need something from you. From my experience in the past, business owners or whoever's holding the meeting normally prefers that. So I let them sit in there for about 10-ish minutes, okay? The door's closed, it's quiet in the room, you can tell they're still mid-meeting. And all of a sudden, the woman that I just poured wine for, the shorter pour, comes out. She walks directly up to me and she goes, "Excuse me, where's the next bottle of wine? It's not an all-you-can-drink buffet, babe. You have to order it." And I say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you had ordered another bottle. Let me just go check with the person who's paying the check. I'm not letting you slide anything on there and then blame it on me." So I walk in and I feel so bad because they're mid-meeting, and I walk up to the host of the party and I'm like, "Hey, super quick." Mind you, everyone else still has more than enough wine left and hers is completely empty. He was so nice about it. He didn't mind that I interrupted him. I was just like, "Hey, did you order another bottle of wine? I apologize if I didn't hear it." And he was like, "No, but who's asking?" And at this point, the woman had come back in and he kind of gives me a knowing look. He ends up saying, "Yeah, that's fine. You can just pour her a glass and leave it on the table and then we'll divvy it up." No problem. I leave. I do exactly what he said. I pour her a glass. I leave the rest of the bottle on the table. At this point, she's had more wine than everyone in the room. So at this point, appetizers and snacks are on their table. They have another bottle of wine and they're fully launched in this meeting. So I close the doors again and I go about my other tables. And guess what? The doors open and guess who steps through? She storms up to me and she says, "I don't understand why you keep short pouring me." Babe, I quite literally cannot short pour you because you're buying the whole damn bottle. Once the bottle is empty, surprise, it's done. It's done. You have to order another bottle. I don't know how else to explain this to you. She says, "Well, they all got another glass before I could get one." I don't know if this woman wanted me to stand in the corner of the room the entire time they were there and just walk up to the table and keep pouring splashes of wine every time someone took a sip, but I guess that's what she expected. I'm sorry, I don't want to sit in on a meeting about shareholder value. That's my bad. So she's like, "Well, can I just order another bottle and I'll take it from you?" And I go, "Well, I'm gonna have to check with the boss again." And she's like, "No, I'll just pay for it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, but I have to pour it for you." At this point, I'm not letting you loose to run amok in the restaurant with a bottle of wine in your arsenal. She orders the Muscat, which is a very low ABV, like 6%. And I'm also assuming that she's still gonna share with some people. She goes to sit down, I go over, I pour her the wine. Turns out she drinks the entire bottle while the meeting is taking place. No one else ordered any other wine. She didn't tip me on the bottle of wine that she came up and requested. And then when I dropped the check for the head of the table, you know, the one that was paying for it, and she looked over and saw that there was an 18% auto gratuity, she came out and requested to have the auto gratuity taken off, even though she wasn't the one paying. This guy was great. He was like, "No, we're absolutely not doing that." He ended up tipping me, I think 25%, because I think he knows. He knew she's a problem. Whatever, they leave, I get off shift. The next morning I wake up and I have a strange feeling that I should check the reviews. This was a newer restaurant, so there were like 5 reviews up at the time, and getting positive ones was a really big deal. Lo and behold, what do I see? I see paragraphs with my name mentioned multiple times. This woman said that I went to every other person at the table and served them wine and completely skipped her because I was racist against her. Mind you, she was the only white presenting person at the table. That wasn't even a thought running through my head when I was taking care of them. I was just like, what the hell is this woman on about? So I call my boss and I talk to my boss and I'm like, "Hey, so let me explain the situation." My boss was like, "Yeah, it's crummy that that's one of our only reviews, but I don't think you did anything wrong. This is clearly just one of those people with a couple screws loose." I remember specifically in her dissertation, if you will, she was like, "Never go to this place is racist, this girl is always here, and she's gonna belittle you." Like, dog, what? You wanna know what text I got a couple days later? I got a text from my manager saying, "Guess who's here? Guess who's here at the establishment she swore to boycott?" And shout out to my manager for this, but she walked directly up to her and was like, "Hi there, I heard you called one of our servers racist. I was just wondering if we could look into that for you." Apparently, according to my manager at the time, this woman completely faltered, did not know what to say. "Oh, well, like, I didn't mean, and like, it was just a bad experience, and like, that's not what I meant when I posted that." And to this day, that is the only negative review ever left about me at a restaurant.
Grab a snack and get settled because this is a long-ass story time.
Get ready with me while I talk about how me and my best friend broke into her crazy cheating ex-boyfriend's house. I don't remember this night vividly, so just if the people involved in the story end up seeing this, which I doubt they will, if you hear any like thing that sounds like kind of like different from that night, I don't remember it, so I'll do my best. I was like talking to this guy at this time, and then my friend was talking to another guy, and the guy I was talking to asked to hang out. It was like a Friday or Saturday, I don't know. And then it was late at night, and he asked to hang out. So I was like, okay, yeah. What do you want to do? And he's like, does anyone have a house to go to? I was like, low-key, we could do mine, but I have cameras literally everywhere, so you would have to dodge it. My best friend, she was talking to this guy, right? And the guy who I was talking to didn't know the guy, but he also wanted to bring a friend with him. So this wasn't like a two-man or anything, and I want to just like say that before I get into the story. This is not a two-man, because she was talking to someone and she was very loyal. It was just like I was hanging out with the guy, like, and we both had our friends there. It was a little friendly hangout. It's around like midnight, and I have a camera like in my living room, and the only way to like sneak people in, I don't know how to explain the layout of my house, but like the camera is facing the stairs. So if you're going upstairs, you're gonna get caught on the camera, right? But my parents like never really checked the camera. So I was thinking, like, my stupid fucking ass was thinking, oh, it'll be fine. Like, they're not gonna check the camera. Let's just like YOLO it, just go. So I sneak them in, but I was thinking like, oh, why don't you just come through the garage? That's so much easier than going all the way around through my backyard. That's how I used to sneak out. I used to sneak out through my backyard. By the way, both my parents have Teslas. And if anyone knows, Teslas have cameras. So later on in the story, if you're getting the hint, I did get caught. Not by the Ring camera in my living room, but by the Tesla camera. And I have video evidence, and I can show it if anyone wants to see that video. It's nothing special, but we're just talking, and I don't know how the conversation gets to this point, but we're talking about this, like, the guy my best friend was talking to at the time. It was some situationship thing. I just realized I forgot to put my hair up. We were talking about the guy that she was talking to at the time, and I don't know how they remember this. This night is really blurry to me. They were talking about seeing him at a party, and they're like, does he look like this? Is it this guy? Like, oh yeah, we would know him personally, but we did see him at a party. And we were confused. We're like, what night? I literally don't. It was either New Year's or Halloween. I might have to fact check that with my best friend. But he had said, yes, he went to a party. But then he went home with his friends. And it was just like guys. And he even FaceTimed her and everything. It was like nothing like he was with guys. So we fact checked that with the other two people who we were hanging out with that night. And they're like, we saw him get in the car with like 3 girls. The fuck? And the guy who I was talking to at the time, he's like, oh, I think I have photo evidence. And we're like, photo evidence? So he pulls up one of the girls' Instagrams that the guy my best friend was talking to went home with, if that makes any sense. And she had a photo dump posted from the night of the party, and it was in the guy's house my best friend was talking to, and they were all sitting on the couch. And I don't know how they know this, but there was some rumor that there was a threesome. So that was really weird. But there were other guys there. So what we thought was they all just in the same room, which is still really weird. Like they're all in the living room. But that was the rumor. And I'm pretty sure someone did confirm it was true that was there. But I don't know. At the time, we didn't know if what they were saying was true, but we did know for a fact that the girls went over there. So we were more upset about the fact that he had girls there and lied about it. We're obviously really pissed. And the guys who were with us, the one I was talking to could drive. He had his car with him. So we're like, okay, let's pull up to the guy's house. I need to make code words. Oh my god. We're gonna call the guy that my best friend was in a situationship with at the time, Jack. And the guy who I was talking to at the time, Matthew. So me and my best friend, we go into my bathroom. By the way, we were sitting on, ignore my messy bed. We were sitting here. We go into my bathroom and I close the door. And she's crying and I'm just comforting her and I'm like, hey, like, it's okay. And she's like, do you think that we could go to Jack's house and confront him about it? I was like, I mean, probably I can convince Matthew. So, I convinced Matthew and the other guy who we were with to go to Jack's house. And Jack lives like 30 minutes from my house. So that was a really long fucking trip. So we're leaving, we're going back out the garage. I'm pretty sure my parents did not catch me going out the second time because the Tesla camera caught us going in the first time, but they didn't mention leaving the second time. And I didn't come back till really, really late or early in the morning. So anyway, back to the story. We're driving to his house. We get there, and I tell them to stay in the car, and me and my best friend go up to Jack's door. We're, like, banging on his door, and his dad answers, but his dad loves Penny, my best friend. So he is just like, hey, what's the matter? And we're like, oh, we need Jack to come out. Like, this is really, really important. Penny's not okay. And he was like, okay, let me go get Jack. So he goes to get Jack, and Jack opens the door. We just let ourselves in. And that's why I'm saying we broke in. Technically, not really, but we did let ourselves in. We made up this story about how my parents didn't want her staying there because I got in trouble, and she couldn't, like, go to her house. Oh my god, I look like Rudolph. We're like, oh, she doesn't know where to stay. Like, can she please stay here? And she's like, how did you guys get here? And we're just like, oh, my older brother drove us. Yeah, because we're confronting him, and we're not about to have the situation turned on us. Later on, he found out that Matthew had drove us there, but it doesn't matter because what he did is far worse, and she was not doing anything with the other guy because it was a friendly hangout. We get to the couch. She pulls up the photo that the girl posted on her Instagram and goes, what's this? And he falls silent, and he has no excuse for the whole night. To sum up their conversation, they talked about this for like 2 to 3 hours, and he didn't talk. I have video evidence. Oh my god, if anyone wants to see the like video with my best friend's consent, gladly post them and you can see. It was so bad. He was just sitting there for an hour straight, just staring into the distance, not saying anything. He ended up gaslighting my best friend and like convincing her like what he did was okay and he didn't do anything wrong. We were there from 3 a.m. It starts to get near 6 a.m. and Matthew is texting me like, hey, what's going on? Like, my friend just fell asleep back like in the back of the car. Like, we should probably start heading home. It's been a couple hours. And I was like, well, like, I don't want to leave Penny here. So I go out, we're waiting for Penny. Penny insists that we leave and we go home. But I love my best friend dearly, so also trust the process. I know I look like Rudolph right now, like, please just, of course, I love my best friend dearly. I started panicking because she's with this, like, weirdo, and I don't want to leave her there with him. So I low-key had a panic attack. That wasn't that great, but the Matthew guy, bless his heart, he stayed there with me at my house till like 7 a.m, comforting me and telling me it'd be okay. Wake up, she's fine. She ended up spending the night at his house and going to get breakfast with him and her dad the following day. But I was really pissed because we cannot be going, oh my god, like, no. Oh, yeah. So then, basically, everything was fine. I thought it was fine. I didn't think I got caught. Then my parents texted me a little later during the day, and they're like, we need to talk. And I was like, huh, great, about what? About what? Because a lot happened, so if it's about everything, where was I? Like, we ended up talking like at 8 p.m. at night. It was really late, but I woke up at like noon, so I don't know why, because it was a weekend. My parents weren't busy, but they just like stalled. They didn't talk to me till 8 p.m. I did not get in trouble. I got lectured because I gave them an excuse. I was like, oh yeah, Penny's older brother got really drunk and he had nowhere to stay because the house was closed, and he was previously at a party and the cops came, and so I let him. but we're not allowed to have people over without me asking, especially at like whatever time it was, really late. I apologize if this story sounded confusing like at all. I am very sleep deprived right now, but I have many stories, including my best friend, that are similar or like this. So if anyone wants to hear those, let me know. Okay, I'm done with my makeup. I added background music. I know, okay, it probably doesn't look like this because a lot of you don't know me, but my lashes are falling out because I fell asleep with makeup on for 2 nights in a row and I'm breaking out, and that's why I have the freaking retouch filter on. This is out retouch, wait. Okay, well, like I had to cover the fucking gaps in my eyelashes. You can see they're like chopping. It's just, I'd like to add, my best friend is literally the sweetest girl ever. She is so loyal. She is the bestest best friend I could ever ask for. She is literally my BFF, like, and if anyone is getting like the wrong idea, like, oh, why did she stay there and let you go home? Like, no, like I said it was fine, I could go home. Like, it was nothing on her part. She was down bad for this asshole, and I can't blame her. Like, we've all been there. But she was not being a bad friend. Like, I don't care. She could stay the night. I was just more worried for her. It wasn't like anything about like me leaving and her staying. I just wanted to say that.
About a month ago, I had what can only be described as the worst experience I've ever had in an airport, as somebody who does not have bad experiences at airports, and I feel now energetically prepared to talk about it in such a way that is not spiteful. Let's talk about it. For context, I was flying to my hometown of Dallas, Texas from an undisclosed location. It doesn't matter. My flight was going to land at 9 p.m. and then I had to drive an additional 3 hours home. My heart's deepest desire on this day was to get an earlier flight. I also got to the airport 5 hours early for reasons that don't matter. I make it through TSA as normal. I go to my gate. I'm aware that it exists. I sit down and I am trying on the app to figure out if I can change my flight to be earlier. The app is tweaking out, not helping me. I call the service number on the app and they tell me that there are no other flights from this airport going to Dallas for the rest of the day, which is not true. I am at my gate so early that there are no gate agents there. So I mosey on over to gate 35, my gate is 34, and it's the same airline, and I tell them, I'm trying to change my flight, can you guys help me here, or is there a help desk that I can go to? They inform me that the only help desk for their airline is at gate 25. I say, okay, perfect. However, between gates 29 and 30, there is a long hallway, followed by another long hallway, followed by TSA pre-check, and then it's 29. This long hallway, this series of long hallways, will surely come into play later in the story. Nevertheless, I am there 5 hours early, so I don't have shit else to do but go talk to the guest services people. Make my way over to gate 25. I'm looking around. I'm noticing that my airline banner is nowhere to be found. It is a different airline banner, but I'm thinking maybe they're affiliated in some way. So I go to the desk and I say, hello, can you help me for so-and-so airlines? And they let me know that the only help desk for them is actually at bag check outside of the TSA line, in which I just stood in for 45 minutes. I said, thank you so much. Have a good day. At this point, I go back to my gate, gate 34, going back through those series of long hallways. I then get back on the app to see if perhaps the glitch has been fixed. It has not. I then talk to a chat bot and directly ask for a live agent immediately. And she lets me know after about 10 minutes of silence, and she lets me know that the next flight out to Dallas has a seat that I can have. I say, thank you so much. Please put me on it. And she lets me know that it is boarding at 8:25 a.m. It is currently 11:40 a.m. So I tell her it's 11:40 a.m. She says it has been delayed and it's actually boarding right now at 11:40, so I need to make my way over there. I say, okay, it's at gate 35. I was just there. Perfect. She then tells me that she has done all the necessary steps on her end. All I need to do is close out of the app, refresh it, go back into it, and I will see my boarding pass. I do not see my boarding pass. It tells me that I need to check in for my flight. However, because the flight is boarding, it won't let me check in. I have to talk to the gate agent. I get back over to gate 35 and I see that there is a line of approximately 40 to 60 people in line to talk to the gate agents. I think surely they're not going to leave all 40 to 60 of us behind, so I get in line. There is one lady working at this desk named Lisa, and she is both checking people onto this flight as well as trying to help this line of 40 to 60 people. Finally, after about 10 minutes of this, a man we will name Timothy walks over and is assisting her. He, however, if I had to describe him in one of the deadly sins, it would be sloth. He is what I can only imagine as dragging his cursor and making the blue boxes on his home screen and not doing anything the entire time that he is there. At this point, I'm still thinking there are 15 people behind me. They're not going to leave without us. Right? I'm the next person in line. I say, "Hi Lisa, how are you doing today? I'm supposed to be on this flight. I just can't get my boarding pass. The app told me to come talk to you." And she says, "Okay, give me one moment." And she walks over to the tunnel. She goes inside the tunnel. She turns around and she closes the doors. Timothy then looks at the last 20 of us and says, "We are no longer boarding for this flight. Thank you." Timothy then leaves. Eventually, Lisa comes back out and she finally comes over and helps me. She lets me know that she's gonna try to get me on an earlier flight. I say, "Thank you so much." She looks at me in my eyes and says, "If you buy a lottery ticket today, remember my name is Lisa because you are the luckiest girl in the world. There is one seat left for the next flight to Dallas and it's a window seat." I said, "Lisa, I could kiss you on the mouth right now." She doesn't tell me what gate it's at, what the boarding time is, nothing. So I get out of line after I get my boarding pass, feeling like Mr. Krabs with his first dollar bill. And then I look at the boarding pass and it says that the flight is departing at 12:20. Departing at 12:20, not boarding, departing. It is 12:18. Surely I've missed the flight. But I have hope in my heart. If this flight was delayed for 3 hours, perhaps the next flight has been delayed for 10 minutes. So now I am back with my old friend, the series of long hallways. With my luggage in tow, I am running to gate 27. And who do I see at gate 27? None other than Timothy. Not only do I see Timothy, Timothy is closing the doors to the tunnel. But again, with hope in my heart, I say, "Are y'all done boarding for this flight?" And he looks at me and says, "We've been done boarding for a while." Now, I am someone who cries when I get really frustrated. So I have tears in my eyes. And here are the 3 things at this point that I have an issue with when it comes to Timothy. Number 1, he offers me no resolution. Number 2, I was the next person in line at the prior gate that he was at. If he had helped me, we could have held hands and skipped to this gate together. Number 3, the energy that I am receiving in my mind's eye from Timothy is that he thinks I'm irresponsible and have now missed 2 flights in front of him because of my own irresponsibility. I am a Virgo. I don't miss flights. I have never missed a flight in my life. Luckily, there is another gate agent working who does assist me and lets me know that he put me on a standby flight for the next flight out. And if that doesn't work out, I have my original flight ticket for the flight that I was going to be on anyway. I now have tears in my eyes and he cannot make direct eye contact with me because I think I am also scaring him due to me also huffing and puffing because I did just run down a series of long hallways. I go to the bathroom and cry for 10 minutes to collect myself. I then make my way over to gate 21, my next possible flight. And I tell the lady, "I've never been on a standby flight before. Do I need to check in with you? What do I do?" She takes down my first and last name and says, "Stay in this area when everybody's done boarding. It is a full flight. I don't want to get your hopes up, but if anybody misses their flight, we will call your name." I say, "Okay, thank you so much." Do you know who then walks over to this gate? Timothy walks over to the gate. At this point, I have no hope left in my heart. They're boarding the last group. Timothy grabs the speaker intercom thing and says, "Will the following passengers please come to the desk?" John Doe and my name. I decide to throw Timothy a bone and say, am I still able to check my bag, because they were looking for volunteers. And he says to me, that would actually be really helpful. At least one of us is. He even takes my bag to the front of the tunnel to be checked for me. I then get on this flight and I discover that I have been put in the exit row. I have 5 feet of empty room in front of me. This is the power of love and forgiveness. Eventually, I land a whopping 2 hours before I was supposed to.
I'm not trying to get someone fired, but the other day at Whole Foods, I was buying alcohol and the employee didn't check my ID. She just put in a random birthday that would be eligible. It was my exact birthday. Not just the day, the year. The year. And I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep unless I asked. So I went up to her and I said, please tell me you have a connection to that date. Is it your dog's birthday? Is it your sister's birthday? No. Nope, she just put it in randomly. I don't think she even made eye contact with me before she put that birthday in. So she didn't even know how old I looked. But let's just assume she did glance my way, okay? Maybe she thought 1997 earliest. Up until the day that you can be eligible is like 2003 right now. I counted how many days. Not actually. We have computers for a reason. It was 2,381 days. That has 1 over that number is 0.0004 4 zeros before it even hits a 4%. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyway, if this lands on the For You page of that employee at Whole Foods, girl, I promise I will not snitch that you didn't check my ID, but I will never forget you.
My homeboy let his girlfriend put him on punishment. So anybody that follow my page, you most likely know my old homeboy Levi. So Levi, he had a little habit of cheating on every girl that he got with because he thought they was cheating on him. So one day, me and the guys, we were supposed to be going out to an amusement park, right? Levi's supposed to be coming with us too, but he's riding with us, so we have to go pick up Levi at his crib. So we drive to Levi's crib, and I text Levi. We're outside. Levi then says, I bet he about to be on his way out, but his girl is over. He then sends another text saying, bro, I need to make up a lie about where I'm going. Help me out. I'm like, why do you need to lie? Just tell her you're going to the amusement park with the guys. He said, I can't tell her that. I'm like, why? He says, it's a long story. He then sends another text saying, she's in the bathroom right now. He's just going to sneak out. Why do you have to sneak out your own house? So he comes outside and he gets in the car. As soon as he gets in the car, you see his apartment door open and his girl starts walking out and she starts walking over towards the car. The windows is down at this time. That's when Levi says, bro, roll up the window as she's walking up to the car. But me and the guys, our nosy asses, we trying to see what's going on. I'm not gonna lie. So we didn't roll up the window. She goes up to the back window on the side that Levi was sitting on and she grabs him by the fucking hair. She then yells at this man talking about, so your ass gonna sneak out after I told your ass not to come outside. My homeboy Burke in the backseat start busting out laughing and shit. Me and my other homeboy DJ, we like, bro, what the fuck is going on? She then replies, still pulling his man hair, by the way, he's talking about, I caught him on Facebook dating, texting other girls, and I told his ass for the next month he ain't coming outside unless he going to work or it's for his mama. My phone about to die, I gotta hurry up. But anyways, I'm like, let him go, he gonna be chilling today. Just make him share his location. We gonna make sure he not messing around. But we trying to go to the amusement park, so I'm gonna need you to let loose of my boy here. But she says she don't give a fuck about none of that. So she takes her other hand, reach inside, unlocks my car door, and opens it, and drags this man out by the hair. Burke is still laughing his ass off, and me and DJ, we just yelling at this girl like, bro, let him go, bro. She got all the neighbors watching while she dragging this man by the hair up back to his apartment. I start shaking my head. I'm like, bro, we don't got time for this shit, bro. So that's when I FaceTime Levi when he got back in the house, and he answers. All you hear is his girl in the background just cussing him out in Spanish. She's Latina. That's when I'm like, Levi, you are a grown-ass man. Come outside and get in the car. He says, I'm coming, bro. Just give me a few minutes. That's when she yells from the back saying, you're not going anywhere. You gonna let your little friends get you popped in the motherfucking cabeza. That's head in Spanish. She then comes and snatches this man's phone out of his hands, looks in the camera and says, Levi is not coming outside. Y'all can go ahead without him. He'll see y'all another time. That's when she looks back at Levi. She says, you lucky I don't make your ass stand in the motherfucking corner. That's when Levi was like, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not standing in no goddamn corner. She then gets in this man's face. Who ain't? Who not? She then says, matter of fact, and takes her hand, grabs this man by the hair again, and pulls him over to the corner. As she's doing that, she takes the phone and she hangs up. I tried to call him back. They didn't answer and shit. That's when me, DJ, and Bert, we look at each other. We're like, bro, what the fuck just happened? I pray that type of love never find me. Granted, I wouldn't be cheating on my significant other, but that shit is just toxic.